Hey guys, it's Jess here. I am here to give you session 2 of Like Me. And today we're talking about jealousy, what it looks like, what it feels like, what to do when you experience it, and what God has to say about it. But before we get into that, I'm going to share a little story, an experience of mine that has to do with jealousy. When I was in 8th grade, I went on an 8th grade field trip, as one does. We went to Six Flags. I was very excited. It was going to be so much fun. I really liked roller coasters at this time. But I was more excited because I had a foolproof plan that at the end of that plan, the boy I had a crush on would be in love with me. Yeah, it was serious business. I was so excited. Step 1, join the group of his that gets to walk around the park together. Step 2, ride a roller coaster with him. That was the plan. Obviously, he's going to be in love with me after that, obviously. Anyway, we get to Six Flags. My plan crumbles apart because I'm not selected to be in his group. I'm selected in another group full of my friends, but it was not Sean, okay? So I wasted the whole day forcing my group to go all around the park trying to find Sean so I could convince someone in that group to switch places with me. Anyway, we get back to the bus, the end of the day, I'm defeated. I rode like 2 rides, and Sean wasn't in love with me. But I found out through talking to people on the bus that my friend Chelsea had spent the whole day riding rides with Sean. That really made me upset because Chelsea was one of my best friends, but I was jealous of her. I never told her, I never really talked about it, but I was so jealous of her. I was jealous of her on that day specifically because she hung out with Sean all day and I didn't get to. But then it made me think about how jealous I was that she was so pretty, she was so skinny, she wore Abercrombie and Fitch and Hollister and it looked good on her, and she was fun and smart. And she got to go on cool vacations. Anything that she had ever done in this moment, I was just like, I'm so jealous. Because it creeped in and I just started having this anger towards her and I was so upset with her. And she didn't do anything against me, but I was so jealous in this moment. So much so that I let it affect our friendship for a couple years. And that's the thing about jealousy. It can destroy friendships. It can destroy families. It can make you feel less about yourself. It's just a terrible, terrible feeling. And I want to share about someone in the Bible who experienced this and what happened to them. So we're going back to the Old Testament. This is 1 Samuel 17 and 18. And we're talking specifically about King Saul. Now, you guys might not be familiar with him. I honestly did not think about him when I think about this story because this story involves David and Goliath. And I feel like many of us know that story, whether we went to VBS or we've been to Bible school or had a Bible study at all. We usually know who David and Goliath are. And David is the little shepherd that defeated Goliath, and he fought for the Israelites. And Goliath is like the giant that was like the mega warrior for the Philistines. And when we get to this story in the Bible, we find out that it's about to be the battle of David and Goliath. The Philistines are on top of one mountain. The Israelites are on top of another mountain. Okay? You can't see them, but they're here. And down in the valley is where the fight's going to happen. Now, King Saul, he is the king of the Israelites, and he is like the best commander, right? He has fought for God and God's chosen people, and he is like, join our army, blah, blah, blah. They're defeating all these bad people and, war, that thing. And David is one of his warriors, and David is like an excellent fighter. He's the best of the best. And if it weren't for Saul, David wouldn't be this warrior. And so Saul is like really proud of him and just like, pumped to have him on his team. So it's time for this fight against the Philistines, and Goliath comes out and David goes out, and David has his little slingshot, that's what it's called, and he takes a stone, does it, and boom, Goliath is out cold. And David is this massive hero, and everyone's praising David for his skills. And Saul is so jealous. He's so jealous because he's like, if it weren't for me, David wouldn't be this war. And if it weren't for me, he wouldn't have had wars to fight. And just all of these things. And he's so jealous of David. And the course of Saul's life changes because of his jealousy towards David. In fact, he plots to kill David. And it eats him up inside and consumes him. And that's the thing about jealousy. In Proverbs 14:30, it says, "A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones." Think about that. You've seen a big blossoming tree. They're beautiful. They're flourishing, lots of branches, lots of things. It's big, full of life. And then you've probably seen dead trees, right, that have fallen. And they don't have all that greenery. They're rotten. They're brittle. They fall apart. A heart of peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. If I had succumbed to my jealousy towards Chelsea, I would not have one of my best friends that I have today. Chelsea went through a lot of things in high school. Her dad passed away. She had some boyfriends that weren't very nice. And I was able to be there for her. In fact, we went away to college together. We're closer than ever now. And she was a bridesmaid in my wedding. And I'm so thankful that I celebrated her and that I did not succumb to my jealousy, or else I wouldn't have her in my life. And so when I talk about celebrating her, I want you to look at it two ways. When you feel jealous about someone, think about stopping and the things that you're jealous about them, celebrate them. Because the more you celebrate others, the more you'll like yourself. I want you to take a minute to grab a pad of paper and a pen, or to grab your phone and write a note. And I want you to write down 4 things that you celebrate about yourself. It could be your family. It could be your grade point average. It could be your dog. It could be your hair. It could be your animating skills, your video game skills. It could be your point average. What is that? Basketball. The things that you are proud of yourself. I want you to write them down. Then I want you to also take a moment on that same note, on that same pad of paper, whatever you're doing. I want you to pick one person that you may be jealous of. You don't have to write their name because we're not focusing on them specifically. But I want you to write down the things that you're jealous of them for, whether it's their style, whether it's how they carry themselves, whether it's who they're dating, how they look, whatever it may be, their confidence. And I want you to start thinking about how you can celebrate them. Because when we are at peace with ourselves and we are at peace with other people, we are going to give our body life. We are going to be able to do so much more. But if we are bogged down with that envy and that jealousy, it's going to eat us up, and we're not going to be able to be good stewards of Christ's love. So I want you guys to go out this week and think about how you can celebrate others. See you next time.